Nurture and support. Nurture and support. This is a podcast theme song. And it's really short.
Nurture and support begins in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Nurture and Support, a recommendation podcast sharing all the awesome. I'm Kelly Toole at KELLYTHUL on Twitter, and with me, as always, advancing the Amazon Prime Directive, here's Mel.
Hi everybody, I'm Mel at Karmic9 on Twitter, and I think I have finally kicked that nasty bug y'all have had to listen to me cough and hack through for the last 3 weeks. So you're welcome. We have a special guest with us tonight, a returning guest at Official Pagan. Say hello, Mike.
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys so much for having me back on, even though I kind of had to beg on Instagram.
That's okay. It worked. So
Kelly took pity on me, and he was like, okay, fine, you can come back on.
That's Kelly.
Guests equal less work for Mel and I. We like guests.
We do like guests.
Right.
We're on a run here. We've had guests after guest. We're popular.
It's like 3 weeks in a row. Maybe.
And then me, so it just screeched to a halt.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll compare Mike's quality of contribution to the others in front of him. That would be kind of fun. We'll maybe wait till he does his recommendation and then say, I don't know, I kind of thought Ashley was a little... Yeah, we'll see. We'll leave that as a mystery for the show. But I'm going to go ahead and get started since we've got all sorts of recommendations to get through, and I'm very excited about this recommendation. It's available for you for free on Netflix. I think I'm okay calendar-wise, and you might not think so when I tell you the name of the movie, but bear with me. Or it's really a documentary, and the documentary is I Am Santa Claus. So now I can tell Mel already is going, that doesn't appear to be timely, Kelly. But let me tell you, I Am Santa Claus is a documentary about people who are professional Santa Clausers, and it is a full year. It covers the full year leading up to go time for Santa Claus people, which of course would be around Christmas. So
intriguing.
It's a fascinating thing, and it covers. You get to know 5 professional. I don't know what the word is. 5 people.
Santa Claus?
5 professional Santa Clauses, and it's a real interesting cross section, and it basically covers all the way from the beginning of the year through St. Patrick's Day, leading up to it, and the countdown, and it kind of keeps bouncing back and forth between them, and it's a very interesting cross section of folks. There's one gentleman who I would say in the continuum looks the most Santa Claus-ish of all of them, who is also very big in the bear community, and he was somehow it was.
Now, Kelly, what's the bear community?
Because my brain immediately went to furries or something.
Yeah, so Mel, you're getting down there. So it would be a larger, burly, hairy men who are favored by other men are the bear community, and
I knew that. I just wanted to hear you explain it.
Yeah, I was aware. You probably knew
Tony
it.
Viejo and I have mostly Tony Viejo, but I would assume that I'm at least considered for co-host. He's kicked around the idea a couple times of starting a show called Bear Chat.
So Tony doesn't seem to have the frame for that. He doesn't seem bear-like, but this is
very judgmental of you, Kelly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Things I learn on this show.
Yeah, it's
I'm so sheltered.
I'm not done either.
Oh no.
But so you kind of get, and I'm a little unclear at the beginning when you're introduced to him. I think he's sort of maybe doing a calendar shoot. I can't really tell exactly. It's pretty creepy to me, but a lot of that his story is he's got his significant other lives in Denver and works for UPS, and he lives in Texas. And he wants his significant other to come down and live with him, but they've got to wait till a UPS job opens up. So one of the overhanging dramas of the show is, will that UPS job open up so that he can go down and join Santa Claus in Texas? But it's just a little bit of him kind of getting prepped and ready to go. then there's one that I think you kind of view him as kind of your yuppie Santa. He's the guy that's kind of got it going on pretty well. He's doing a CD with a friend that they're planning to try and sell and make money, and you get to kind of follow his path.
A Christmas CD?
Yes, Christmas CD. And then there's another gentleman who used to be named Frank and basically said, I used to be a pretty unpleasant guy. And I found out that I was a lot nicer when I dressed like Santa Claus. So I try to do that a lot, and I've actually legally changed my name to Santa Claus. And so there's Frank, and he seemed like a pretty cool guy, but you kind of get his path. And then there's another gentleman who is the president of the real bearded Santa Clauses of America, who...
Is this a non-profit, I assume?
It doesn't look very profitable to me based on the convention I saw. But there's a lot of buzz because Frank and Big Santa Claus and all of them come to the Bearded Santa Claus convention, and there's a lot of buzz because this president guy is a swinger, and they don't know if they can have a president who's a swinger, and you get to this guy.
Is it because they were against the lifestyle, or is Mrs. Claus really not that worth the trade?
That's a judgment call. I think that would be. I'm not prepared to make that call myself, but I think
but you thought about it. You just don't want to share your opinion.
I'm just not good. I think you keep some mystery in life, and this is one place I will. And again, I don't quite understand why, but we get a chance to visit kind of the swingers club that Bearded Santa Claus president's a member of. And
I'm confused why you don't understand why they didn't want to film that.
That was interesting because when you come into this building, the first thing in the building is there's a buffet, and then
Makes
there's a viewing area, I guess.
You do not want to get into that on an empty stomach.
No, but there's a sign up there that says "No nudity at the buffet." so there's
also makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
So there's that. So you get these things here, and it's the reason I watched the thing. Fifth Santa, Mick Foley, professional wrestler who has been a huge fan of Christmas forever. There's a photo of me with Mick when I saw him at C2E2. He's got a shirt with a bunch of Santa Clauses on it. He's always been a big fan. In past wrestling events, he'd come out as Saint Mick. And he wouldn't dress as Santa, but he'd have the Santa hat on and stuff, and he'd club people with the bag of toys and all that. But he's always been very infatuated with Christmas and with his kids, and they would go up to Santa's Village on the East Coast as it's an annual pilgrimage, and they had a lot of fun. And this was going to be the year that Mick was going to come actually be Santa at Santa's Village. And for those of our listeners who aren't as familiar with Mick Foley, he's also known as Cactus Jack, Dude Love. He has one of his ears was torn off on a rope. He's the guy that the Undertaker threw off the cage in the Hell in a Cell match that they always show. Very hardcore wrestler, not unfamiliar with being thrown on a bed of tacks, all those kinds of things. Baseball bats with barbed wire. So Mick's not your Santa prototype in many ways.
Now, what's really strange there is I'm not that into wrestling, and you just described at least 3 things that I do regularly.
New career path there, Mike.
There you go. So Mike, this could be, maybe they'll do an update, and we'll have Mike as the 6th Santa, which would be, I think, actually a good movie title right there. So, so it's pretty fascinating to see Mick start to get ready for it. And the most interesting thing of it as I went through is that, and granted, I'm a little biased, and granted, this was produced by Mick Foley. He actually put this thing together, so I'm sure there's a little bit of editorial license to use there. But he's an outstanding Santa Claus. It was just fantastic to see him interact with kids. And
you're saying the guy who produced the movie displayed himself in a positive light.
Yeah, I know it's a shocker. I know it's a little hard to believe that somehow he comes out on top. Plus, you get to see Mick and Roddy Piper, who's my favorite pro wrestler of all time. They're at another sort of con of some sort, not Santa related. And Mick is explaining to Hot Rod that he's going to go be a Santa Claus in these things. And it's pretty fascinating to watch Roddy Piper try to wrap his head around why this is a good idea, but he tries to be encouraging and those types of things. So, but it's just really cool. There were things I didn't know. Like, it turns out if you're a mall Santa, and you're gonna, that's the big gig you want to get, because and that's one of the other real drama points through there is one of these Santa Clauses gonna get that big gig because the Bass Pro Shop did not invite him back, and so there's a lot of drama on, is he gonna get the spot or not? Won't spoil it for you, but what you do find out is that if you are a mall Santa, many of the malls actually put you up. And some of them actually put you up in the mall, in like an apartment in the mall, for 7 weeks. So you're basically at the mall for the 7 weeks leading up to Christmas doing the Santa thing. I had no idea that, but I guess if you start to look at it, you're there most of the day.
Do they provide the booze to get you through that day?
I did not see that. It was clear a couple of our Santas were familiar with that method, and I didn't see them drunk with kids, but it did appear like they had familiarity with the benefits of alcohol.
I was actually going to ask, at any part, like, does the documentary get dark? Is there like weird drunken Santa who's way more interested in mom than the kids?
So there's parts. So dark, strong. I think it never really gets dark. It gets poignant on some things, because what you get on a couple of these situations is there's, especially Bass Pro Shop Santa, this guy's like, I want to buy a trailer. It looks really nice, but I can't get that trailer and move it. And he's starting to sell his furniture. He goes, boy, I hope a job comes through. My agent, and I had no idea that there were Santa Claus agents, but apparently there are. My agent, she keeps saying something's going to come, but the Bass Pro Shop guy told me he wanted me back, and I don't know what happened. So there's some of those moments, and some interesting compare and contrasts of one, how there's the kind of yuppie Santa ends up working at a mall, and they put him up, and it's a really nice hotel room kind of suite, and he's got all kinds of nice food and all that. And another guy, the accommodations are a little bit more limited. A lot of lean cuisine going on, which I don't know why Santa be doing that, but there was some interesting thing. But so go ahead.
Do they get into the financial aspect of that? Like, do they discuss how much a Santa can earn in a season?
So all I knew is that Bass Pro Shop Santa kept saying that he needed that job because that was $10,000 he really needed. So I'm guessing that 7-week stint could pay you up to $10,000 being a Santa.
I would like to announce my retirement from music.
Santa Mike. So this will be nice. Pagan Santa. So I think it's interesting. I do think, shockingly enough, the guy that produced it comes out looking really good. But I think there's a lot of, I don't think that was hard to do, because there's a genuineness about Mick Foley and his passion for this and all that. And he, respectfully but accurately kind of showed a couple other dynamics of different folks and coming from different places and kind of interesting little slices of life. I never thought any of it was particularly kind of taking advantage of these people or making fun of them. But there were some uniquenesses to each one of them. But it wasn't a laugh at them kind of thing. It was just kind of a pretty interesting thing to watch. And like I said, I was just stunned at how Mick Foley did as Santa, because it was just like, wow, yeah, that would be what you'd want to get out of a Santa Claus. So I think it's worth a watch.
Well, I'm gonna have to watch it because I'm intrigued by this Texas Santa Claus that you say was the most Santa Claus looking one.
Yes. Because
I know a Santa Claus, and I'll have to see if that's him, because if it is, there's a whole nother side to him I don't know.
Yeah, let me know. we can maybe add in the
his autograph if it's him.
That'd be cool. Yeah, we'll check it out, Mel, and then maybe before this blog post goes up, you can provide either affirmation or denial on whether
yes,
that Santa Claus is that Santa Claus. So, but it's fun. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was interesting, and it does start at the beginning of the year, so you get to see the whole cycle leading up to Christmas. And then a sad, because you got to realize, if you're playing Santa Claus, it really sucks on December 24th, because you got to hide, because the kids all assume you're out on your sleigh, so you can't be around. And then on Christmas Day, there you are eating your pancakes alone in an IHOP. So there you go. That's the life of a Santa. Life of a mall Santa.
Aw, so sad.
So
Mike will lift us up, though.
Yeah, on that uplifting note, let's turn it over to Mike.
That's a tough act to follow. I don't have any Santa stories.
Yet.
Wait, you know what? No, I take that back. I can sort of relate this in a really roundabout way to Kelly's.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it work. And when I say that, I just mean I'm gonna stick the word Santa in somewhere. That's
Randomly.
my recommendation would be the new album, Lost Themes from John Carpenter.
You are so lucky. I was going to do that one this week, too, and I didn't.
Well, we can do it together.
That would have been amazing.
We can do it together. We can do it right now. What did you like about the album, Melissa?
I thought it was really, I don't know, the atmosphere to it was just really cool, and I have to say, I did not know that he had actually, I didn't pay attention, that he had actually scored all of those movies himself. I really wasn't aware of that on that sort of level, and so that album had come up in one of my recommendations online, and I downloaded it while I was at work the other day and listened to it all day at work. And so unfortunately I don't know most of the song names because I listened to it that way, but I almost sat down and got ready to recommend that because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it all day. I loved that album. So I'm interested to hear your knowledge.
Well, I'm a huge John Carpenter fan, and I really can sort of relate this back to Kelly, because Rowdy Roddy Piper was in They Live, which John Carpenter both directed and scored.
Excellent movie.
Cool.
And what was interesting about this album is this is his first real solo album. It's not a collaboration with anyone, as far as he's worked with other composers on film scores and things like that. And this isn't related to a film, not directly anyway. But all of the songs, you can hear distinctive elements from each of his scores in them. And I'm a huge fan, not just of his movies, but of his scoring work as well. The couple films that he did not score, I think really suffered because he didn't. And Rowdy Roddy Piper. We just got to keep bringing it back to that. There's an excellent...
So awesome.
Just to win Kelly back. I obviously won Mel over just by using a recommendation that she might have used.
Yes.
But just to bring Kelly back in, Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Yeah. But but just realize you may not have exactly endeared yourself with Mel, because you've just pulled a future recommendation off her plate.
That's right. I'm gonna have to think of something new now.
I'm sorry. I take it back.
Fine.
I recommend something different.
No.
And I know you said that you are not familiar with the song titles yet, but the first single released from the album prior to the full album's release is the song Vortex. And if you haven't seen it, the music video for it's amazing. They took clips from all of his films, and when you watch the video, it randomly chooses clips that sync up with the different parts of the song. So every time you watch the video, it's different.
That is cool. No, I have not seen the video.
It's
That's
very
awesome.
cool. And you can go to johncarpenter.sacredbones.com to watch the video, and you can see clips with Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Excellent. I always liked his sister better, though.
Rowdy Roddy Piper's sister?
No, John Carpenter's sister better.
Oh, Kelly.
What?
Karen Carpenter?
Yeah, right?
No.
Oh?
There's a small, subtle difference.
Okay. Is it different?
Musically.
There are other carpenters who make music? I had no idea.
And like I was saying, what I really liked about it is, even though they're all original songs, you can hear things peppered throughout the album that are done in the different styles of his different scores. And there's even kind of little subtle nods to other things in there. Like there's a riff that's directly out of a Goblin song, and they did a lot of horror movie scores in the 70s and 80s. So there's a lot of sort of nods to his peers musically. And I have a fun John Carpenter story as well. I was working a horror convention a few years back, and it was one of the first ones that he was appearing at. And the first day that I was there, he wasn't there. He was only going to be there for the second of 3 days. But for me, I had to be there all 3 days because I was being paid. And I had to be there. So
I like how you describe a job.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Let me
Mike
explain to you how
Polanski
work
a job.
happens. Someone's like, hey, do you want to appear at this convention? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, you get paid this, but then you have to go. That's how that works. So
That's the problem.
the first day that I was there, I went alone. They told me that I could bring someone with me, so I was going to bring my wife, and she was like, absolutely not. I will drop you at the door, and I'll see you tonight when I pick you up. So coming back, I mentioned to her that Julian Sands was there, which is her favorite actor. So the second day, she was accompanying me, and I had my special I'm Awesome pass that let me skip all the lines to meet anybody I wanted to meet because I was part of the convention. So the John Carpenter line, as this was one of the first conventions he was appearing at, was 75 miles long. That's not an exact number. I didn't, but it was incredibly, you couldn't see the end of it long. So I was like, okay, I'm skipping this line. So I went to the front of the line, I'm showing my pass, and they're like, okay, that's great. She can't go with you, though, meaning my wife. That was the one time they were like, there's too many people, they'll kill us. If we, you can go, but you can't bring friends to skip the line. So because I love her and love John Carpenter so much, it's not quite equal. Like, she's just above John Carpenter, but because I love them both nearly equally.
But both are below Roddy Piper, right?
If it'll win you back, Kelly, they're both below Rowdy.
Of course.
Because I love them both, I waited in this line, and that was like 4 or 5 hours of my day. Was standing in this line to meet John Carpenter, something I could have done in 5 minutes.
Cool. Well, I'm proud of you.
I am too. It made me a better person.
It did. It kept you alive. Awesome.
It did.
Yeah,
It was these very large, scary-looking security guys who were just like, look, we can't let this happen. Do you see how many people are in the line here? They'll riot. But that's the power of John Carpenter, though.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Rioting?
Did she get to meet Julian Sands?
Yes. It was the best moment of my life. Her meeting Julian. We went, it was hours before the venue actually opened. There was a check-in time for everybody, so I had to be there. Say it opened at noon, I had to be there 10 or something like that. So I go into the main ballroom where everyone sets up, and Julian Sands, I'm on one side, and Julian Sands is on the other side of the ballroom. So she's like, oh, do you think we'll get to meet him now or during the thing? I'm like, he's right over there. Do you want to go and meet him? So we go over, and you have to understand that my wife is not impressed by anyone. Like, I could walk through the door with the president, and she wouldn't care. She would probably barely acknowledge that it was even the president. She's like, hey, what's up? And keep going by him. So I didn't expect too much. I was just kind of excited that she was, maybe a little bit nerdy and wanted to meet somebody until we got to Mr. Sands. And she turned into this giddy little schoolgirl.
Awesome.
And, of course, Julian Sands' agent or manager, whoever she was there, and she's like, hey, would you like to buy a poster? Would you like to do this? So I'm just, like, throwing money at this woman. I'm like, I don't care. Give us everything. This keeps going until they open up the doors. This doesn't stop. Everything that's happening right here. So awesome. He asked her what her name was, and she couldn't speak. He had to hold her hand and walk her through it, and everything. It was great. It was the best day of my life.
That's awesome. I'm sure she appreciates you telling us all of this story.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
She'll never see this.
No. Yeah, we need to find out how we can stay in touch with her, because I think there's some key parts of this podcast we're going to want to point her to.
That's awesome. I love Julian Sands too, so I totally understand.
He is great, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan. You can't see it because it's very dark in here. Maybe if you go back and watch one of the old Snarkalic radio shows where there's lights on in here, there is a large Julian Sands poster above our couch that he made out to her. So
awesome. That's cool.
It's a lot of fun. So the one of the few things that she ever sort of geeked out about. I was very proud. I felt like a proud parent who was tearing up watching my kid do something sportsy.
That's good. I like that story. Oh, I think we digressed just a little bit. But Julian Sands is totally worth digressing for, y'all.
That's what happens. As soon as you start talking about Julian, you were just way off topic within minutes.
He's no Rowdy Piper, but all right.
Yeah, for all of you out in podcast land, Kelly has been looking very uncomfortable this entire conversation. I don't think he is quite into Julian Sands.
No. I was replaying,
Not as much as we are.
No.
Yeah, replaying key scenes of They Live in my mind. While I was,
Okay.
Do you have a favorite Julian Sands movie, Mel?
Warlock, pretty much.
Classic.
Awesome. It's been a recommendation I've made on the show before too. So love Warlock.
We're Boxing Helena people.
Yeah, I liked Boxing Helena, but Warlock will always be my favorite for just so many reasons. It's got Richard Grant in it too. So it's great. Love it.
It is a great movie. I don't even remember how we got onto this.
You were at a convention where you met John Carpenter.
Carpenter.
Yes,
Right.
so yeah, John Carpenter. So
Yes.
I met John Carpenter. I'm a huge fan of his. As even, I'm sure this has happened to you guys too, where you're such a big fan of a particular person's work and you get yourself so pumped up about something that they're putting out that it could never possibly live up to your expectations. This did. So I can't recommend it enough. Everybody should go out and buy it. If you haven't bought it by now, Roddy Piper, Julian Sands, and John Carpenter in one story.
Mind
That
blowing.
is the best commercial for this album ever.
Absolutely.
I'm not the musician, obviously, that Mike is, but I really enjoyed that album listening to it. So I'm gonna definitely have to go listen or watch the video because I didn't know that was out there. So
Yeah, the video is excellent. And what did you think of the remixes?
like I said, I don't know the track titles, but I liked most of them. I mean, I was at work, so I couldn't really jam out too much. But I don't remember one that I just hated. And I'm hit and miss on remixes a lot. So that was about it.
Kelly, are you a John Carpenter fan at all? You really haven't contributed a lot to this.
He's still worked up about Julian Sands. He's
Yeah,
just worried we're going to take it back.
Yeah, we're going back. The more Julian Sands are. So like John Carpenter movies, did not know because I'm not a detail guy. Did not know his involvement with the music. Am aware that Karen Park Carpenter is not his sister. Pretty sure.
Little known fact.
Yeah, a little known fact, just to clarify. He might have a sister named Karen, but not the Karen Carpenter.
Yes.
I was totally unaware and unfamiliar of his involvement with music, and that this particular album had come out. So I think I'll probably be looking into it.
I think
There you go. See, we won him over.
Yeah. He's going to reluctantly listen.
Reluctant.
Yes.
He'll have his arms crossed while he listens.
That's right. I'm not enjoying this. No, it sounds cool. It really does.
I enjoy it. Not that anybody cares, but I liked it. Mike stole one of my recommendations.
Yeah.
See, that shows how good it is, though. It's a double recommendation for that.
Yes. Funny how
And a
that happens.
reluctant try it from Kelly.
Yeah.
I am really glad that I didn't try to do that one today though. But I decided since I really have only listened to it through once that I really needed to listen to it more before I started trying to tell anybody about it. So I'm glad that you did it, Mike, because being a musician, you obviously know way more about it than I do. And I, like Kelly, was unaware that he had scored all of those movies until I was reading about the album a little bit. So that's awesome. So I think it's time for my recommendation, which mine's going to be really different. I'm sorry it's not going to be as cool as Santa Claus or John Carpenter, but it does involve zombies a little bit, and zombies are always cool. So it's a book, and it is a cookbook. See everybody groaning and turning their MP3 players off. It's called The Snacking Dead, a parody in a cookbook, and it's by D.B. Walker. And this is an entertaining little cookbook. Unlike my Thug Kitchen recommendation before, that seriously, y'all, if y'all have not checked out that cookbook, you really need to because it's hilarious. This one, in between all of the recipes, is a little parody story, not directly related to The Walking Dead, but sort of. It features a character named Pam, and basically it's telling the story of her and her two children surviving the beginning outbreak of the zombie apocalypse, and the things that they go through, and some not so nice people, kind of like the governor, that they meet along the way. And incidentally, Pam, when she was a little girl, knew a boy named Daryl who had a thing for squirrels. And he showed her how to chop up squirrels. And she just loved him and made him sandwiches. So,
Now, have either of you guys eaten a squirrel?
no.
Not intentionally.
No. So it's a cute little story in between all of the recipes. It's obviously a parody. It is not trying to be realistic in any way, shape, or form. The things that happen are stupid and over the top. The governor-esque thing I mentioned actually happens in a medieval times sort of restaurant, which has become a bastion of the survivors, and they have a king.
I never thought of that, but what a tremendously good location to kind of, because you got swords and. Yeah.
It kind of worked out because, the actors had armor, and the zombies couldn't bite through their armor, so it worked out. The weapon of choice, though, in here for Pam is a pizza peel that she has sharpened on the edges. So this is the large metal, it kind of looks like a flat shovel that they use to shovel the pizzas in and out of the ovens. Okay, so it's kind of long, and you sharpen the edges, and man, it can just take the head off a zombie real fast. So some of the subsections of this charming little cookbook are kind of funny. One of them is a headless body and a topless bar, friendly fire, wings of disaster, that's gonna stain, beyond the wall, and food chain. And each one of these little subsections features a recipe. So in case any of you are worried that this is going to be another one of my vegetarian cookbooks, it's not. There are omnivore recipes in here. There's quite a lot. There's an entire chapter at the end that's basically ribs, pork chops, things like that. But in reading through the recipes, I was really kind of impressed that most of the recipes in this book are very, very simple and can be made in just a few minutes. And she really has a thing for using lime in cooking. And I was intrigued by that. I like to cook, and I like limes, and the creative use of lime in a whole bunch of these recipes was really neat to me. So I haven't really had a chance to try them out. And this episode will actually air after The Walking Dead comes back from its mid-season break. But if y'all get it, you'll be well prepared for your season finale party. You can make all sorts of things from here. Some of the recipes are diesel strength quesadillas, which I'm going to have to make because one of the ingredients is they make lime pickled jalapenos. You make them yourself, but it only takes about an hour, so it's not really pickled. But lime and jalapenos are always a good thing. There are some neat little chocolate energy bars in here as well, and some napalm spicy chicken wings. Everybody wants napalm in a zombie apocalypse.
That's good eating. Napalm, that's good eating.
I figured somebody would like that. And these actually looked pretty good. False sense of security blueberry muffins. And probably my favorite recipe in the whole book is the secretly sadistic jalapeno poppers. Because jalapenos are secretly sadistic, honestly. There's a gratuitous violence Jell-O mold, and the ever-popular squirrel poppers. So,
Does that feature squirrel?
the recipe is actually written if you want to use squirrel, but you can use something else.
And
Yeah,
Mike,
will you be
earlier,
trying squirrel?
No, sorry, not me.
so you have tried squirrel though, Mike?
Yes.
And what did you think?
No.
But it wasn't a squirrel popper, which might be.
No, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it was just not properly prepared.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. So there are also some backwoods burritos and a post-apocalyptic po' boy. There's a whole sandwich section
that one.
because, she had a thing for Daryl and made him sandwiches to earn his love and adoration. And about halfway through the book, the story turns around and is told from Daryl's perspective. Kind of as if he's, out on a run away from the rest of the group, possibly thinking about leaving them. And his experience in this parody book is what convinces him to go back to the group. So it's an entertaining little story. It would make a great gift for the Walking Dead fan in your life. And if you're lucky and you give this to someone as a gift, they might actually make some of the recipes for you, because quite a few of them sound really pretty good. And they're easy. Not a whole lot of ingredients, not a lot of prep time. So I thought it was worth telling people about in case they hadn't heard about it. It's been out for a couple of years, so it's not a brand new release book. But it's called The Snacking Dead, a parody and a cookbook by D.B. Walker. And food's always good, and everybody needs to try some squirrel poppers at some point in their life. And wash that down with some secretly sadistic jalapeno poppers, and you'll be good to go.
You know who
Whenever
else
you're
likes?
following poppers with poppers, you know it's a good time.
Sure.
Absolutely. Poppers are awesome.
You know who else likes limes? Roddy Piper likes limes. Just so you know. Big lime guy. Huge lime fan.
Well, then I like him too.
So we got that going.
So short and sweet. There's actually there's some cocktails at the end of the book as well, in case you're into cocktails, but they were a little more complicated with some exotic liqueurs for those who like that sort of thing.
Cool.
So I think that's social media recommendation time.
So I'm going to ask that one of you two go first, because I've lost mine. I've got to go back and find it again here.
Lost, wasn't really prepared. It's all the
No,
same
I
thing.
had it.
Yeah.
What? Poof.
Unlike me and Mel, who were all over this thing.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's
We were
right.
so prepared.
So go ahead, prepared ones. Anytime
Okay.
now.
So I'll go ahead and go. My social media recommendation this week is a lady by the name of Beth Cato, and that is also her Twitter handle, @Beth Cato, and that's Cato. She's actually an author, as many of my recommendations are. She has written a book called The Clockwork Dagger, which was very enjoyable. But the reason I'm recommending her today, because I like themes, as many of you probably know, she has a portion of her blog which is called Bready or Not. And she bakes a lot of bread, a lot of baked goods, and so she puts recipes up on her blog very regularly, and I love baking bread, so I find them very enjoyable, and I just think the title, Bready or Not, is hilarious. So that's my recommendation, y'all, @Beth Cato and her blog, Bready or Not.
Man, this show's killing me between Julian and Bready or Not. This is a tough one for me to make through.
Sorry, Kelly.
That is a painfully awesome name.
It's awesome.
So have you made up a recommendation yet, Kelly, that you're going to pretend like you had the whole time?
I had it, and I have it. It's available now. I don't know what happened. It went away. So, would you like to go next, Mike? I would hate to.
No, you go, Kelly.
Okay, all right.
I can tell you're chomping at the bit with this one.
So a fairly recent follow of mine, and her name on Twitter, the title that she'll go by on Twitter is Nightmare with a K, but the Twitter handle itself is @CV as in Victor, F as in Frank, L as in Larry, C22. So it's CVFLC22. And she, along with a group of other people on Wednesdays, launches different hashtag games. And Science Songs was the one they did yesterday. I did a couple of them. And so it's a lot like the hashtag game. I've recommended that Twitter account before. But this is a group of folks. And what I kind of like about it is that once they start to pick up on a few people who are playing, is when they launch the hashtag, they kind of reach out and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, come on, we got hashtags. See what you can do. So. And there's some pretty fun things, and you get some pretty clever people responding to the hashtags. If you go do a search on Science Songs, the hashtag, you'll find some pretty funny ones out there. So I would follow her.
Okay, I will do that. I'm sad I missed the Science Songs.
So, Kelly, what was your use of the Science Song hashtag?
Bunsen burner love. Bunsen burning love. So.
Good one. It's not as good as Bready or Not, but
Litmus Time was another one. So, all right, Mike, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to recommend a gentleman named Pete. He
Gonna narrow that down for us.
I was getting to it. See, make one joke about how he wasn't prepared, and all of a sudden, you can find him at Pete Genepool, and that is GENEPOOL. Pete runs a record label called Genepool, which is based out of the UK and operates under the Universal banner, and also works with a US-based label called In Grooves. They have many great, incredibly talented artists on their label.
And others,
such
right?
as?
Such as myself.
Yeah.
So you know it's the best quality.
Of course.
So you should get on Twitter and tell Pete how much you love my new album that came out this week.
Kelly's looking very uncomfortable again.
No, I'm good. Yeah. Well, yeah, because I guess I am, because I'll do that, and that's like doing something nice, and that's not
It's painful.
consistent with my brand strategy. So I don't like to do those things.
Plus, I'm looking at his page right now, and he has a really cool background picture with zombies and stuff in it. So just to see that.
Cool.
No hot rod? So that's all right. Cool. I will drop him a note. So when you say you're on the label, is that the Pagan?
Yes.
Like the most recent Pagan release, which, spoiler alert, some folks might hear about on a future Nurture and Support. So pretty awesome.
All right.
Yes. You should go on there and tell them how much you love it, and that they should put out Pagan records forever.
Okay. I can do that. And all of our listeners should do that too. So we'll give you the information. Mike, if you would like to draft a proposed tweet, we can include that in the blog. So,
it's going to start with, Mike totally didn't tell me to say this, but
just you know, we want it to be in your words, but Mike will provide you what those words are. That should be really cool. And by the time this airs, gosh, Mel, there will have been maybe 3 assault and batteries that have gone on. Would that be something around there?
2.
There'll be 2 in the first week. Maybe just 2. Maybe just 2.
Yes, this will air right before technically the 3rd episode of Better Call Saul. So.
Yep. So we hope.
Now, Kelly, are you excited about that show?
I am very excited about that show. And Mel is very excited about that show. And so we're very excited to try this assault and battery thing out. And hope that you find some time in your busy schedule to interact with us during that time, Mike.
Maybe we should tell them a little bit about what assault and battery is. I don't believe we talked about it last show.
We may not.
We did. We mentioned it the show before, but last show I don't believe we said much about it. So enlighten our listeners.
Okay, so due to my unbridled enthusiasm for Saul Goodman and all things Saul Goodman, when the Better Call Saul was announced, I've been super excited and waiting. Then as you started to hear what was actually going to be done here and what some of the critics are saying, it's getting even more and more exciting that I think it's going to be a very enjoyable piece of television that does many of the things right that Breaking Bad did right in terms of writing and cinematography, acting, but it's not going to just be the prequel to Breaking Bad. It's going to be its own show. And I had badgered Mel incessantly to watch Breaking Bad. She finally acquiesced, enjoyed it. I think that's fair to say.
It was awesome.
So
sort of the way we're peer
recommendation
pressuring
Kelly's
you.
ever given.
Is that sort of the way we're peer pressuring you to like the new John Carpenter record?
Yeah, like that. Yes, exactly like that. So what we've decided to do is that to try and community build and have other people who are interested in talk about it is 15 minutes after the ending of a live episode of Better Call Saul. Every new episode that comes out, Mel and I are going to jump on and do a live Google Hangout called Assault and Battery. And we're just going to recap the show, kind of step through that, identify probably our favorite quote from the show. And then what we're really hopeful of is that either through Twitter or the Google Hangout Q&A, that we have other people kind of engaging us, sharing what they liked about it or input they wanted to have, just so that we can revel and celebrate in Solmus and kind of talk about the show. So we don't anticipate it going super long. We're hoping to shoot for around 20 minutes. This will either be a really hilarious thing to hear, if these shows are running. So, but we're hoping to, right around the 20 minute mark. We might end up going 30, but we just kind of quick recap the show and hopefully connect to some people who have just come off watching it too and get an initial reaction. So, very excited to try it out and interact with folks.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. As someone else who's really excited about that show, I'll definitely be watching you guys.
We appreciate that.
Yep.
Ask us questions. Talk.
Yes.
Which Kelly came up with our awesome title, by the way, everyone. Assault and Battery. It makes me laugh.
And
Great title.
And because this is kind of cool, Mike. Probably should let you know this. We actually occasionally have a guest on the show that's like a good musician, and so she's done some music for us. She's done the theme song for Nurture and Support, and she has now done the theme song for Assault and Battery. And so if you're ever in the market and need a little help, a little kind of quick little music thing, we can hook you up. So just want to let you know.
I appreciate that, Kelly. Thank you.
You bet. We're there for you.
Feel the love, y'all. Feel the love. Oh, so funny. So I think this is where we turn it over to Matt. Tell everybody how to get in touch with us.
Sounds good. Looking forward to talking to everybody next week. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Thank you guys for having me back.
Thank you. And John Carpenter.
I'm sorry I stole your future recommendation.
It's okay. You talked about Julian Sands, so that made up for it.
See? Julian Sands brings everyone together.
He does.
Not everyone.
It's that ponytail. It's awesome. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
You can contact us on our website, nurtureandsupport.net, or email us at nurtandsupp@gmail.com. That's NURTANDSUPP@gmail.com, or tweet us at nurtandsupp on Twitter.
Nurturing and supporting China.